I mean, just to recap on why you're here is you're two of the 50 Oxygen influencers. Daniel, you were the first year. Tiffany, you were last year. And, these are people that are kind of lighting up the industry, but from outside the boardroom. And you were put forward by your peers, So it's not me choosing them. It's your peers. But I mean, just to get to know you a bit better, I think, Daniel, we asked you who you'd have play you in a film of your life. You said Rami Malek. Is that right?
I think so. You know what? That was
it's too long ago. It's too long ago. It's like a year and a half ago.
I was like, Google, who do I look
like?
Well,
you actually did say that, 'cause I looked it up. So you definitely did say that. And Tiffany, you said the animal that most embodies you is a leopard.
Yeah.
That's the one that can climb the best, I think.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I did use Copilot to help me come up with that answer a bit. I put in all of my attributes, but yeah, I think the reason I put that was, what was the reason I put that? I think it was something to do with like it being like stealthy and maybe not being like overtly over the top, but actually getting the outcome.
That seems totally fair enough. And sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but we also asked you how the IT channel can make itself more attractive to the next generation of staff, and you said by doing things that are exactly like the channel reality show. So what did you mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's no surprise that social media, LinkedIn, online presence is so important nowadays. I mean, it's where everyone looks for jobs and sees opportunities and learns about companies. So I think even through doing the reality show and posting a lot about it on my LinkedIn, people who I was connected with, who I maybe went to school with, maybe not my year, but different years in my school, reached out to me and thought, oh, it'd be so interesting to get involved in the channel and involved in Telefonica Tech. I'd love to learn more. So it's all about having that online presence and really just showing the younger generation what's out there, because that's how they consume information and that's how they learn.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I remember, Daniel, in your answer from 18 months ago when it was, I think you said the channel's not doing a good enough job to attract new staff, but I think you mentioned wanting to see more companies do kind of graduate apprentice type schemes. More companies do kind of bigger schemes. So kind of what's your view on that as a younger pro?
Yeah, exactly. And I am a massive advocate for apprenticeships. It was, even though the apprenticeship isn't something I stayed in, it was that first introduction to work and to earning and learning. And, I took loads from it. And actually, even though I started with an apprenticeship, I still felt like I was ahead even when I went into that sales career, just because I was usually like the youngest in the office. Organisations like Softcat are doing a great job at bringing on board apprentices and graduates and, new starters to the industry. But outside of that, I've not seen as much. I was even helping one of my best friend's brothers. He's 18, he's looking at apprenticeships, and I was keen to support him on that journey. And he wants, he's aspiring to be in sales, which is great. So I was there looking at the apprenticeships website, looking at different companies, and the only one that came up with was Softcat. So I think there wasn't really that much representation from the wider market. So it'd be good to see more in terms of promoting the industry. The channel community does a great job of doing that internally within the channel. There's organisations like Tech Channel Ambassadors that are working hard to represent the channel into educators. So I think it's nice to see that change, and I think things are starting to move a bit. But also, I think we have some fantastic careers in this industry. There's some really fun jobs. It's how do we show that to maybe university leavers or those considering apprenticeships that the IT channel should be one of those industries like, I mean, it's probably not as important as healthcare, but one of those industries where you go, right, that's a great place to get into. So yeah, I feel like it's moving, but probably a little way to go.
No, that's definitely true and good advice. And Richard, from your perspective, what more do you think leaders of partners and vendors and distributors can be doing to promote the industry externally?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's interesting listening to Dan and Tiffany with them points there. I think if we think we're a multi-billion pound channel, technology channel in the UK, and we've got no body representing us in its entirety. So we've got splinter groups of bodies that represent parts of the technology channel. But to actually have this multi-billion pound industry and we're not marketing it, and we're not promoting it, and we're not bringing people like these guys to the fore on social media to do their sort of little sort of profiles and case studies of their story, and like what we're doing today, right? That is scandalous, really. That shows that actually there's so much potential there. That's what I see it as, is there's opportunity lost. Dan had a big search then. Softcat are probably one of the best at doing it, and bits like that. But I think the outreach aspects, business leaders in any size of business can do more of. So I think you can do the outreach to a local school. You can go and do little pilot schemes within that school of what it's like in a sales environment, what it's like in marketing or operations, and AI projects, whatever those things are that you've got internal skill sets for. But I think the disconnect that is still there, which the channel should be addressing, in my opinion, a lot more, is to have that sort of a governing body that overarches every aspect, from the vendor right through to that reseller community and everyone who sits in between, to just have a campaign that really drives what the technology channel is about and why there's a career in this. It's not just a job; it is a career. So I think that aspect, but I think we'll see more of that as the new leaders of tomorrow start coming through. I think we've got a new generation of leaders coming through into the boardroom now, and we're seeing those changes happen. For me, I want to be around that next generation of people because it keeps me relevant. And having discussions like this and listening to people, you try and take on board those things that are relevant to how can we take this industry forward. And I think that's the key here. I think we've probably been a vendor-led industry for many years, and I think what's happened now, we're now a consumer-led industry, and that's a really good thing because businesses have to shape and adapt to that demand. So yeah, I think business leaders can be doing more, but I think we are starting to see that. But there's so much more untapped potential for this to be the skills gap and unemployment rates going up and stuff like that in the UK. There's lots of jobs out there still, even with the advent of AI. There's different jobs happening now. So yeah, we just need to promote ourselves better than we currently do.